Hello friends, welcome to my channel. Today I am going to talk about camber thrust and camber angle and also give an introduction about slip angle. So first we will look at what is a camber angle. Camber angle is inclination of wheel plane from the vertical. You can see the vertical plane here or the vertical axis which is perpendicular to the ground, and this is the wheel plane which is the dotted line, and the left side is the vehicle side and this is the outside of the vehicle. This negative camber happens when the top of the tail tilted inwards, that is towards the vehicle side, as you can see in the left side. And in the positive camber, the wheel's top side will be tilted outward from the vehicle side, as you can see in the right side. It have various effects too. So we are denoting the camber angle by the sign gamma. You can see it's an F1 car that is having a camber angle. Have a closer look. It's having a negative camber, that is the top of the tail is tilted inwards. Consider a tail that is rolling forward. If there is no external force in it, it will always tend to follow the direction of that tractive force. But whenever a lateral force, an external force acts on that tail in the lateral direction, just consider it's a side force. So we are denoting that force by F suffix S, hence it's a side force. So it is acting in a direction perpendicular to the wheel plane. So this side force will result in a distortion of that contact patch where the tail is getting contact with the ground. So the axis of this contact patch will be something different compared to that wheel plane axis. So that finally the effect of the side force will make the tail to roll in a direction of that distorted contact patch axis. That means the tail will slip. So the angle between these two axes is called as slip angle, which is denoted by alpha. So the tail is rolling actually. So the center of pressure will be shifted towards the trailing side of the vehicle. That means the rear side of that tail, trailing side of the tail. So the reaction force, that is the reaction force of the side force because of the slip angle, will act in the center of pressure. So I already told that the center of pressure is shifted towards the trailing side. So there will be an offset between the side force Fs and the cornering force Fc, and the offset between these two is called as pneumatic trail. So this offset will lead to a self-aligning torque here, which will help to retain the position after steering. There is a property that is used to compare the cornering behavior of various tires with respect to various slip angle, and it is called as cornering stiffness. If you want to know more about cornering stiffness, I have done a video in cornering stiffness too. Cornering stiffness is defined as, and first it will be denoted as C suffix alpha. Alpha is the slip angle. It is defined as the ratio of change in cornering stiffness divided by the change in slip angle. That means delta Fy suffix alpha divided by delta alpha. So now take a look at here. The self-aligning torque in the slip angle will be greater compared to that is created by camber angle. If there is no camber angle in the tail, when we projected the axis of that wheel or that tail, it will be parallel. It will be parallel to the ground, which means the wheel will always tend to move in a straight direction, that is either forward or rearward, depending on what type of torque is there, whether it is tractive force or braking force. But if there is a camber angle, it will be when we projected the axis, it will meet at a point O here. So the tail will not tend to move forward but it will tend to rotate with respect to the center O. So this is the effect of camber angle. So the tire will not free to move forward. Actually, it will rotate like this. If the point where my finger is the O and the other side have the tire, it will try to revolve with respect to the center other than moving forward or in a straight forward direction. It's actually an effect. So it will lead to a force in there that is called the camber thrust. We can find the magnitude of camber thrust by finding the normal load. We can the normal load will always act in the vertical direction, and it is shown as the N there. And there is a, and the blue line is the plane of the wheel. When we project it, first we will point the magnitude of normal force, and when we projected the FTR, which is the camber thrust, it will meet at the wheel plane, and the magnitude of the camber thrust will be the value of that orange line. These three lines are in equilibrium, that's why we are getting a triangle there. So we can write camber thrust is the product of normal reaction and the tangent of camber angle, because tangent of camber angle is the division of that opposite force, which is the camber thrust, as well as the adjacent force, which is the normal reaction. Tan gamma is equal to Fy suffix gamma divided by normal reaction N. So there will be effect that is created by the camber. That is, it will actually increase the axial bearing pressure, and it will helps to reduce the kingpin offset. You can see here I have denoted the kingpin offset in the downside. This is the kingpin, and you can see the kingpin, and there is the axis of the kingpin. The kingpin offset is the dimension or the distance between the center of the contact patch and the point we get by projecting the axis of that kingpin. So kingpin offset will be reduced by providing camber angle, and it will also provide more directional stability compared to normal tires that doesn't have any camber angle. So there are a value that is used to compare the camber properties of tire, and it is called camber stiffness, and it is denoted as C suffix gamma, where you know that gamma is the camber angle, and it is defined as the change in camber thrust divided by change in camber angle. Similar to the cornering stiffness, it is camber stiffness. Keep both these things in your mind. It is very much essential in tire dynamics, which is a part of vehicle dynamics. So it will helps to compare the cornering stiffness and camber stiffness will helps to compare the cornering properties of various tires. That means bias ply tire, radial ply tire, or whatever depending on the vehicle characteristics, everything. It is very helpful for comparing the properties. Check this figure. You can see the camber thrust here, which is denoted by Fy suffix gamma. The Fy gamma will always act in a direction similar to that cornering force. It will be distorted from that side force. So it will also lead to a self-aligning torque. But the magnitude of the self-aligning torque created by the camber thrust will be always less than the magnitude of self-aligning torque that is created by slip angle. This is also because the distortion of that contact patch, and it will lead to the shift of center of pressure, and so it will act in a various direction. And the camber thrust is depend on the value of camber angle as well as the normal load. As the normal load increases, the camber thrust will increases, and it will also increase with the increase of camber angle too. You can see this in this figure. Just have a closer look. So the lateral force the total lateral force is a sum of cornering force as well as camber thrust. But depending on what type of camber is in the tear, the sign will vary, whether it will be addition or maybe subtraction. You can see if it is the with respect to the type of camber angle, the direction of camber thrust will be vary. If both the cornering force as well as camber thrust in the same direction, we will use the addition sign. If they are in opposite direction, we will use the subtraction sign. For negative camber, when you draw that freeboard diagram, you can see that the camber thrust will be in the same direction of that cornering force, so the lateral force will be higher in negative camber. So the vehicle will have more corner stability with negative camber. That's why Formula 1 cars are having the negative camber. So but similarly for positive camber, the camber thrust will be opposite to that of the cornering force, so we will use the negative sign. We can also replace the cornering force by the product of cornering stiffness and slip angle, as you can see here, and we can also change the camber thrust by the product of camber stiffness and camber angle. Hope you enjoyed my video and you have learned more about the tear dynamics. Please give a like and don't forget to subscribe for updated video. Thank you. See you in another video.